What's happening, y'all? This is Ron Tucker with another edition of Ron's Talking. I don't even know what time it is, but I believe it's almost 3 in the morning here in Arizona, so y'all know I'm nuts, I'm crazy, but I got things on my mind, gotta get things off my chest, and I'm here for y'all, okay? So don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'd appreciate it. Here trying to do a service to the people, for the people, and about the people. Well, with that being said, it's been a crazy week already, and it's only 2 days into it, going on to 3. And of course, Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, let's see, Byron Donalds, who else is involved in the mix? Oh, we can't forget about Laura Loomer, I'm sorry. Let me see, who else? It's just so many of them involved in this whole hilarious, ridiculous, just a bucket full of lies and innuendos and racial connotations and comments from everybody, and it's just mind-boggling what the American public will deal with and, I guess, embrace. I don't know about appreciate, but it's horrible. It's just utterly horrible, the condition that our not only our political discourse is in, but it's mind-boggling. And I say to all of you, if you're listening, understand that, yes, this has been said so often, but this is a pivotal, important election for so many obvious reasons, especially for people who are sane. The insane ones, and obviously I'm partisan, I'm a Democrat, you can call me a lib, you can call me anything you want, really. Don't get carried away. But I'm all about common sense, fair play, down the middle. If you do things wrong, you deserve to be held accountable. It's supposed to be the way things are supposed to work in America, but it is so different now ever since the orange face man came down the escalator, as they say. And ever since then, we've been dealing with this malignant disease like a malaria carrying mosquito for 9 years. And it hasn't gotten better. It's only getting worse as every day goes by. What we've become right now is hard to put in words, and every day it seems just so exhausting. Not to the point where us freedom fighters, if you want to call us that, I'll say we are. A lot of us know that it doesn't matter how exhausting it may seem. We'll just keep on bringing the fight to them. And I want to throw some shout outs to my guy, Reese Waters. Shout out to Texas Paul. Shout out to Tennessee Brando. Tip my cap always to the OG, Mr. Roland Martin, and other freedom fighters that have their YouTube channels going on, the Midas Touch, young kid named Luke Beasley, and it's just so many others that I watch on a regular basis, just to stay informed, just to keep up with what's happening. I see certain things that they say or they have discovered or uncovered, and it's just a blessing to have all those folks rolling up their sleeves and staying within the fight, and keeping up with all the current things and making sure that Trump and his minions don't escape without being uncovered and identified for the atrocities and the things that they constantly keep committing. So Anyway, so now that we know that the reason Donald Trump has people trying to pop his ass is because of Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, and Joe Biden speaking about Donald Trump being a threat to our democracy, according to J.D. Just Dumb, Vance, and the liar-in-chief Trump, the Harris team should cease and desist, right? Man. And what I mean by Trump getting his butt popped at, we know this so-called, and I'll call it so-called, assassination attempt just occurred with this nut job in Florida, allegedly was hiding in the bushes for about 12 hours. And me having this inquisitive mind, I'm still trying to figure out how they determined that he was laying in wait in those bushes for 12 hours. Whenever they reveal that, I'd be more than happy to read up on that. I can't wait to see what their explanation is on that one, that aspect of it. They say that there was a rifle sticking out the bushes. I ain't got no doubt that may have happened. And they fired on him. He didn't fire on Trump. Trump wasn't even nowhere in the vicinity. He claimed he was about 300 to 500 yards away. Of course, a high-powered rifle with a scope on it can make up that distance very quickly with a round coming at you. I say all that to say this. I don't see what they can charge that guy with other than trespassing, having weapons illegally. He's got an extensive rap sheet that dates back for decades. So the man's obviously in trouble for him being there on the grounds. And, the inference is that it was an assassination attempt. I'm hard pressed to say that the guy attempted anything when he never pulled the trigger. And he wasn't pointing anything at Trump per se. Trump wasn't in the line of fire. They can't really determine that. So I'm not trying to advocate for the guy's freedom or anything like that. I'm just saying, when you look at the facts the way they are, I think a good defense attorney might be able to not get him off the hook completely, but as far as him being charged with a federal crime and all that, I'm gonna see how that plays out in the legal system, because our legal system is all jacked up anyway, based on so many things that have happened in the past year or so. We'll see. But anyway, Trump and his people, you got his main African American, Mr. Byron Donalds, and he stated, just to illustrate how ridiculous he is, in his fervent attempt to let Massa know he be forever fighting for that cabinet position of head janitor in the Trump administration. A news host asked Byron Donalds, since VP Harris denounced the violence that has spawned with this new assassination situation, and she is glad the former president was not harmed, is that good enough? And predictably, the good Republican said, no. She is the one that is inciting the violence by saying that Trump is a threat to democracy, and other Republicans are chiming in on the same chorus. Only the Dems are spewing the hatred, right? But before I get into the illegal Haitians who are destroying Springfield and the U.S. according to them, let's look at the former commander-in-chief's remarks over time and presently. All right, drum roll, please. First, J.D. Vance stated yesterday that we need to tone down the ridiculous inflammatory rhetoric that is coming from too many corners of our politics. We cannot tell the American people from one side, which is the Democratic side, that if Donald Trump is elected and called a fascist, it will be the end of our democracy. Okay. Let the roll call begin on my boy Trump. On 9/5/24, Trump was in New York City, and he claimed that Kamala Harris is the first candidate of a major party who fundamentally rejects freedom. She embraces Marxism, communism, and fascism. And he hit all four corners with that one. Right? That's number one. Back in 11/11/23, which was almost a year ago, Trump said, "We will root out the communists, Marxists, radical left thugs that live like vermin within the confines of our country." Nothing vitriolic about that, right? No hatred, no venom. Perfectly normal, innocuous terms and words that Mr. Trump spewed. Nothing to see there. All right, we move on. On 8/29/24, Trump said, "She's a Marxist, she's a fascist." Now remember, only the Democrats are saying inflammatory words according to JD. All right, let's move on. There's more. 5/11/24. Joe is weak. He's only good at cheating on elections, but it's just not him. He's surrounded by fascists. 12/2/23. Biden and his friends, he's surrounded by his communists, Marxists, and fascists. 8/17/20. Joe Biden is the puppet of left-wing extremists trying to erase our borders, trying to eliminate our police, indoctrinate our children, vilify our heroes, take away all our energy, destroy our Second Amendment, attack the right to live, replace American freedom with left-wing fascism. He continues. 12/2/23. Joe Biden is not the defender of democracy. He's the destroyer of democracy. 4/2/24. A vote for Trump is a vote to save Wisconsin, and it is a vote to save your country. This country is finished if we don't win this election. And I heard it from somebody, from a scholar, who said if we don't win this election, this may be the last election this country will ever have. Joe Biden is a threat to our democracy. What do you think, people? That sound like only the Dems are throwing out all this rhetoric and all this inflammatory rhetoric, all this hate speech, or everybody's Marxists and communists? Trump is a beacon and a paragon of democracy, and he believes, obviously, based on what he said here, that the rest of them over there, the Democrats, they're just communists. They're Marxists. They're fascists. And democracy will not survive if they go into power and become president and he doesn't make it. It only gets good and it only becomes great if he's in charge. But yet, all the Republicans who are running interference for him, echoing the same talking points that he brings out. J.D. Vance, ringleader right now. Byron Donalds doing his part as the chief bootlicker. So there you have it, folks. There's the contrast. Okay? Now, the Fraternal Order of Police has decided to back Trump. Every time you see Trump at a lot of these, not rallies, but different little venues he's at, and you see all these law enforcement people, they just stand behind him like a bunch of tin soldiers. You know, a lot of law enforcement has Trump's back because he's always lied to them and told them that he's all about law and order and he's got their backs. Trump ain't stupid in that regard. He's going to pander to law enforcement because he know he's always going to have them to go out there and bust some skulls if he asked them to. Because a lot of those people who wear those uniforms and badges, they got the same mindset and demeanor that he has. I don't get it twisted. Now everybody know racists are everywhere. Businesses to law enforcement, school teachers, everywhere. Because they're people just like anybody else. And they're going to have their own views and their feelings. So no one should be surprised or shocked that the Fraternal Order of Police, a union, and that Trump is anti-union, but those clowns don't see the difference. Right? But, you know, they're going to back him. Now, the irony with this endorsement to me is that they have decided that a criminal, which Trump is a criminal, he's a felon, he's more qualified to them to be our next president versus a former DA, former prosecutor, former attorney general, a senator, and current vice president. Now, y'all know in America today, that makes total sense for the FOP to make that kind of move. Right? Makes sense in this bizarre world that we live in now. Okay? Everything's upside down, everything's right side up, you know. This is the world we live in. But not everybody in law enforcement agrees with the FOP. They got a sheriff in North Carolina, and he's joined forces with about hundreds of law enforcement officials across the country, and they condemn the Fraternal Order of Police in their decision to endorse Trump. And they are backing Kamala Harris. That's the way the sheriff puts it. You know, she's a former law enforcement official. She understands them. She understands what they're dealing with and what they're going through. And, you know, her being a former law official herself, she's always had their back, so they said they got hers. So, you know, there you have it. So it's not totally one-sided here. So, since the Fraternal Order of Police has, you know, wholeheartedly and full-throated supporting Donald Trump because they feel he's the best thing for the job as Commander-in-Chief, again, they ain't got enough of that first mistake that America made, so they want another bite of the apple. But let's look at the criminal-in-chief's rap sheet here, shall we? Is a $500 million civil suit fraud. That's a judgment against him. Okay. Multi-million-dollar sexual battery and defamation conviction in the E. Jean Carroll case in New York. In New York City, he was found guilty of 34 felony crimes. In Washington, a grand jury found Trump indictable in an attempt to overthrow the election in 2020. Just rehashing stuff y'all already should know. And if some of them you don't know, let me give you a little refresher here, because you know our memories get short over time. Because Trump is constantly doing so much. It's just hard to not so much keep up with him, but just remember all the criminal activities he's been involved in. Okay. In Florida, a grand jury indicted old Trump for unlawfully retaining classified documents, obstructing justice, and violating our nation's espionage law. And don't forget, he got a trial court judge and a state Supreme Court in Colorado that ruled and affirmed that Donald Trump engaged in an insurrection. But, you know, he's a paragon of virtue, and He's all about the law. You know, stand-up guy. He's just totally, without a doubt, unqualified to hold any office, let alone the presidency of the United States. But here's an interesting little set of information. I gleaned it from at Reese Waters. You know, the Reese Waters Show. If you don't know about it, be sure to check him out because the brother's sharp. I look up to him and I check him out daily. So you ought to do the same. Just take my word for it. Tell him I sent you. Okay? Now, Trump has been involved in a number of things. Approximately over 3 decades, 4,095 lawsuits and probably in counting. Did you hear me? Let me say that one more time. Him and his business enterprises have been involved in 4,095 lawsuits in the last 3 decades. Come on, folks. Come on. Including, but not limited to, bankruptcy with his Atlantic City casino, New York real estate fraud, $88 million defamation lawsuit, that's with the E. Jean Carroll deal, and over 100 businesses dealing with tax disputes. And back in the 80s, when he and his pappy, old Fred, they were both found guilty of housing discrimination against Byron Donalds, Tim Scott's, and Blacks for Trump's ancestors. You know what I mean? But they love him. You know, I know Tim does because he stated that unequivocally in front of everybody. I love you. Yeah. And Trump said, I sure enough love you too. Not. And let me throw a little bit of shade at the Latinos for a second. You know, they love Trump's draws. Even after he done told them on many occasions, maybe they weren't listening, he done called them rapists, murderers, thieves, vermin, disease-carrying individuals, and gang members and thugs. Now, think about that, Latinos, for a minute. And y'all not the only one. We got a lot of brothers out there and sisters who they love his dirty bathwater too, and they'll drink it willingly and happily if he asks them to. But see, with the Latinos, see that's their good old hombre, their El Presidente. If Trump didn't need them to be flunkies for him and his properties or lie for him like old Walt Nada did down in Mar-a-Lago, he'd either probably line them up for deportation or put them in a firing squad. As long as he can get rid of their asses, that's what he's all about, because he gives a damn about them. Y'all need to face it, all of us ethnic groups. The rip and the real deal with Donald Trump is he gives a damn about you or me, and especially if your color is like this or it's different than his, or you ain't got none of that paper, man, you can hang it up. Trump don't give a flying F about you. You know it's hard for y'all to, deal with that, and it's hard to take it in and appreciate it and conceptualize it. It's just the plain truth. That man is on the run. He's trying to save his hide because he knows what's awaiting him in 2025. That's what's up, y'all. Most of y'all understand it, but see, the Trump lovers, the hardcore Trump supporters, they know Trump is, has been, and always will be a total embarrassment. He's been an embarrassment ever since he became president in 2016, one of the darkest days in our history, among so many other dark days, because he's a walking thunderstorm, a dark cloud. Everywhere he goes, number torrential rain, and tornadoes, and hurricanes. He's a disaster, folks, in other words. And everybody who comes in contact with him is just like getting hit with a disease. He pretty much is just like COVID, a disease, a virus. That's all he is. Look at all the people whose lives have been upended, whose lives have been damaged, either directly or indirectly by that man's presence and them associating with him. That's all the people that are going to jail. You won't talk to them because it's been so many of them and they don't really want to talk. But I tell Michael Cohen, for example, he took a 3-year hit for Trump. And now he wants to see Trump get a little time too, which is totally understandable. So many people that went to slam, and some are still going to be heading there. Steve Bannon crying like a little baby right now. Oh, he was big bad when he, before he went to prison, was talking all that smack about, he ain't worried about prison. Prison don't scare him. Ain't no biggie to him. He gladly go to prison because he's going to prison for us. I was glad he went. Matter of fact, I would have escorted his fat ass there if I had been there to help him get there and escort him there to his prison cell. But lately, he's been crying out to the officials and the judges and everything, talking about he wants to get released early. Please get me up out of here. He can't stand it now. See, that's what happened. See, when old Peter Navarro was leaving, he was waving at Bannon going in. He said, it's your turn now, partner. I just served mine. I was crying too, but them days will go by quicker than you think. It's going to seem like it's slow, but it's tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. The clock's going to keep on ticking, and you'll be all right. Just, keep your head up. You know what they say. Hands down, ass up. Be careful. And I don't know how y'all handle y'all combinations in that shower or whatever for your hygiene issues, but watch the soap slippage. You don't want to get caught up like that, especially with that rotund behind that you got. Might be kind of inviting to some of the boys, they ain't been out of stir for a while. So anyway, I'm gonna leave that alone because I ain't trying to see that man get get attacked from the rear, nothing like that, Anyway, but like I was saying, old Bannon was one of those people that had to link up with Trump. Old Manafort served his time, but he didn't serve all because Trump pardoned him. And so other people that went to jail, he ain't gone. Trump ain't gone yet, but everybody and their mother that went. And a lot of people, like I said, are on the hook right now. Election interference and all that kind of stuff. A lot of stuff's coming down the pike, but anyway. Finally, let me talk about the Haitian bullshit that's been perpetrated by Vance and Trump. See, America, they've been dealing with Trump like a battered wife. Every time she takes him to court with those two closed peepers and knocked out front teeth, America, which to me is represented by senators like Susan Collins of Maine, who said after one of Trump's impeachments, I think he's learned his lesson. And Trump walked away to beat up America another day. Isn't it just like today's America where Republicans like former President Trump and J.D. Vance can fabricate lies about a race of people of color that they just aren't particularly fond of? And they tell the American public that they, in fact, made up the stories now. They lied and have admitted it. At least Vance has. He didn't admit that he made up the story, but he keeps trying to justify it because he told old girl Dana Bash on CNN, well, I made up some stories because you people in the media, y'all would have never picked up on anything until we pointed it out by telling a lie about something that you couldn't pick up because it never happened in the first place. You see the lunacy and the just the ludicrous things that these Republicans do, and they turn around and, you know, the truth is always hidden somewhere within the lie. And see, after a while, JD couldn't justify the crap that he did. Trump is always going to be oblivious to everything because he don't want to mention or talk about or answer any questions about some of the nefarious shit he done. But they point and obfuscate and project and blame and point their fingers at everybody because they know they are guilty of everything. And the media, the mainstream, they'll throw in some old standard softball questions. And then when Dana Bash was questioning Mr. Vance attacked her. And she's standing there looking all transfixed and pop-eyed and, okay, are you done denigrating me and my profession and my colleagues? Are you through? Anything else you want to say to ridicule us, Mr. Vance? Okay. That's what they do. They let these clowns turn the tables on them, and they make themselves the victims. And it's all the media's fault, or it's Joe Biden, or Kamala Harris, or Tim Walz, everybody on the left. It's their fault. Trump running his big trout mouth 24/7, attacking everybody. Then when he starts getting attacked, verbally and physically, with the violence that he's been fomenting, it's Joe Biden's fault. That some of those white people out there who can't stand Trump's ass decide to go ahead and start taking shots at him. Can you think of a world right now in the United States, for example, what it would be like if Trump wasn't the kind of individual he is? It's probably hard to fathom that right now based on the climate that he's helped create in our country. Can you imagine this country without Trump? We're talking about paradise. Shit, we'd be broke and happy if his ass was gone. But he ain't. And we're still dealing with him every damn day. So that's our reality. It's incredible. But like I said, you know, they get away with all this stuff. They fabricate lies about a race of people, and then they tell the public that they in fact made up the story, like I said a minute ago, and they put an entire city in jeopardy, in chaos, and hell, and they just shrug it off as if it was no big deal. You know? Then in the same breath, they blame it on the other party, and the media won't push back against them, and millions still support their lies. And neither Trump or Vance will apologize to the people who, because of their callousness and blind indifference, are suffering from Trump's MAGA morons. In JD's home state, even. That's how much he cares about you Ohioans. And they elected him as a senator. So to me, they're getting just what they deserve right now. What a return on your investment, right? Bad enough they voted in on Jumpin' Jim Jordan and Mike DeWine, the governor. Oh, I guess Ohioans just won't learn. They'll top that off pretty soon by voting for a convicted felon who claims he isn't a racist, but he loves to cozy up to avowed racists like Laura Looney. Laura Loomer. I'm sorry, Laura. My bad. As his new girl. And Nick Fuentes, the other little white racist nationalist, Mr. Supreme Superior to everybody else because he's white. Elon Musk, who ain't nothing but a racist himself. He think he's slick because he wants to perpetrate as a business genius and everything like that. But he's up here advocating for Kamala and Joe to be assassinated because Trump's been getting shot at. When Trump keeps letting that loud alligator mouth of his put him on the verge of being blown off because he can't stop running it. You know, Trump is in dire straits anyway, and there's the only avenue he feels to victory in November is to keep up the race baiting so people won't remember that ass kicking he received at the hands of that black woman at that debate. You know, he's frightened by the prospect of losing again so that he and JD will do and say absolutely anything and everything to survive right now. Now, Trump wants to stay out of jail, obviously, and Vance wants to go on to become super stupid in the White House with Byron Donalds and Tim Scott becoming their butler or valet, depending on which one wins the coin toss. Well, you know, all I got to say in closing is this. Let's got a little thought. Donald Trump has never professed, to my knowledge, to really like Latinos. But, you know, he'll say that they love him, but there's no reciprocal affection back to them from him. Okay? But here's my main question. How many Latinos were in his cabinet during his first run? And I wonder how many figure prominently in 2024 if he should win. Which I don't see no way for him. But they're going to try to cheat him in. So, you know, we'll see what happens. And also, why didn't he ever consider a female to be his running mate for VP? Joe chose Kamala. Of course, they want to ridicule his choice by saying, oh, you know, he said and told everybody he wanted to pick a black woman. He wanted to pick a black female. That's, to me, discrimination. You know, why couldn't he pick the white woman, you know, and all that? Be that as it may, he still picked a woman. When has Trump ever said he's going to do something like that? And would he ever decide on a Latino or a black woman? Trump? Come on, y'all. Y'all know what time it is with that. Trump ain't into women like that when it comes to getting close to that power that he enjoys. Now, I say this. On MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene was definitely available. But maybe she was just a little bit too manly for his style and his taste. You know, I'm just saying. You know, just saying. I guess Laura Loomer, she came along a little bit too late. Day late, a dollar short. But she getting the short end of this. I'm not even going to go there. All right. Anyway, folks, thanks for listening. Anybody who did, you know, check out my YouTube channel here. It's at Ron's Talking. Please subscribe to my channel. Said throw me a like or two if you like. I'd appreciate it. Remember, subscribing doesn't cost you nothing. It just helps our algorithms and all that. So appreciate you taking the time. It's about 3:30 in the morning here. I'm like, Trump, I'm doing it all for you. It's not for me. I'm here for the peoples. So y'all take care. Have a good night. Have a good morning. Have a good day wherever you are. And I'll see y'all soon, because I ain't through. This is going to go on and on and on until I can't do it no more. I'll talk to y'all later. Brothers out.